Specific goals will require specific exercise selection. You can't just do random exercises if you're trying to attain a specific goal. And this comes down to the specificity principle. What? So, what that principle entails is selecting specific exercises for a specific goal. Again, if you're prepped for time, for example, doing unilateral exercise at the beginning or for a majority of the exercises is not a very good idea. You're prepped for time. Unilateral takes longer because you have to do both sides. Bilateral, if you have less time, those are optimal exercises to perform. If you're trying to do more power stuff and hypertrophy, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing calisthenics, I should probably focus on doing unilateral, giving more overload, so keeping those things in mind.
3, 2, 1, go.
What exercises should I be doing for myself specifically? How do I know exactly which exercise I should be doing? Irvin Felix John with thefitnessjournals.com. Business Body Elite. You know the vibes.
You know the vibes, we outside with it.
We always outside.
We always outside.
Yeah, so essentially when we outside, what does that mean? We not inside.
You know the vibes, calisthenics, nigga.
Oh, there you go. Yo, my God, what's happening? Hold up. So how do you decide what exercise to do and how do you select what order you put them in? Now it depends on your goal. Is your goal endurance, building strength, looking better? As far as your physique, what is the goal? That is the #1 factor that will determine exercise selection. No warm up, but anytime, anywhere, it would be a shame if I bust my ass, right? You know the vibe, it's always a warm-up. Right now, what am I doing? Absolutely nothing, but I'm gonna show you something real quick. Watch this, check this out. Check this out. Yo, I'm getting a call, it's probably important. Yo, wagwan, bruv. We just walked outside, we in the back of that Bath and Body Works.
You're in the back of Bath and Body?
No, we are where Bath and Body Works is because we work in the bath and the body. That grip is different. Look, the thing about calisthenics, right? It's so beautiful. You could literally do that anytime, anywhere. Now, I'm not trying to show off. This is just how I live. You get what I'm saying, bro? True, facts. What needs to be understood doesn't need to be understood. Because it's already understood. You get me, bro? You get it. You get it. So what I'm saying is, look, calisthenics is a lifestyle. It's a way of being. I am being. It sounds like I'm not saying anything, but that sounds good. What is that? Ooh, it's an M4. Just like look at that real quick. Rev it. All right, you're not gonna do that. That's the state of being as well. You get what I'm saying, bruv? We out here, innit? Okay, so specific goals will require specific exercise selection. You can't just do random exercises if you're trying to attain a specific goal. And this comes down to the specificity principle. What? So, what that principle entails is selecting specific exercises for a specific goal. And by understanding the training principles, progression, overload, specificity, that is how you create predictable results. Is actually paying attention to the training principles. But like I said, if you have a specific goal, if you want to create predictable and predictable results, outcomes, you want to make sure what do you want to do? You're selecting specific exercises. So if the goal is endurance, muscle building, power, strength, the style of training and exercise that you perform, they will not be the same. They all will vary. Now, of course, you could compound and put them together in different formats, and then according to that, you will be able to balance out the goal, but you need to understand, how do I place these exercises? So actually knowing where to place exercises and which exercise to do. You can't do unilateral exercises at the beginning. If you're prep for time, for example, doing unilateral exercise at the beginning or for a majority of the exercises is not a very good idea. Your prep for time, unilateral takes longer because you have to do both sides. Bilateral, if you have less time, those are optimal exercises to perform. If you're trying to do more power stuff and hypertrophy, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing calisthenics, I should probably focus on doing unilateral, giving more overload, so keeping those things in mind. So like I mentioned earlier, look, number one, you would not go ahead and begin with unilateral exercises. Why? Well, like I said, it depends on the goal. So everything I say from here on out, you're wondering, what does he really mean by what the goal is? If your goal is like, look, I want to become explosive, I want to jump higher, do things like that, you're going to select exercises that are specific for that. Now, putting it in a properly arranged program comes down to being aware, okay, number one, I don't want to get injured. That's like the bottom line. You never want to get injured, because as we know, you cannot make gains if you're injured. So the bottom line is making sure, number one, we're going ahead and following protocol, warming up, doing all those stuff, but doing exercises that would allow those muscles to warm up by doing decreased resistance. So if you're going to do jump squats, do regular squats first, warm up the muscles, and then you go ahead and begin by performing the most explosive, challenging movement first. Now, why would you do that? Why does that make sense? Now, if you wear out your body performing the more unilateral, basic, simple exercise, you're still using energy, yes, but when it comes down to performing those more demanding, skill demanding, and muscle demanding exercise, energy demanding exercise, you don't want to compromise that by using it all by performing those smaller unilateral exercise first. You would leave that for the end of the routine if that is your goal, which is to increase explosiveness. Now, let's say, for example, you're like, look, I have structural imbalances, one leg is bigger than the other. Then you would say, okay, now let me focus on performing unilateral exercise, so I allow my body, allow those muscles to recruit isolated in an isolated fashion. So like pistol squat, for example, doing pistol squats would allow you to isolate those specific muscles that you want to work. You could give them more resistance when you're performing it unilaterally in opposed to doing bilateral, because now you're like, okay, now I can load up this muscle a lot more, overload it, and as we know, overloading is the principle to increase strength, increase muscle size, hypertrophy, and that's how you perform that. So I'm going to put over the screen just very briefly, as you see here, these are different fascias that you can, different examples of how you can structure a program as far as the arrangement. There's so many variations for arrangement, whether it's like upper, lower, explosive, core, assistance, things like that. It all comes down to your goal. So above all, it all comes down to the goal. That's what you need to keep in mind. But general rules to keep in mind: always begin by performing a general warm-up all the time, then be more specific with what the warm-up is. If you're going to be doing squats, then go ahead and do body weight. If you're going to load up, then you could load up after they're completely warmed up, performing those body weight squats. Then you would work on explosive movements. Explosive, doing more core, which is core is utilizing one or more large muscle groups, or two or more large muscle groups, and then assistance is one or two smaller muscle groups. So it gets really technical, but when you're thinking about it and just getting into your workout, identify what the goal is, and the exercise need to be specific for that goal. So keep that in mind. If you need a specific structure, we do have a community, me and my boy Bam, with Let's Do Some Pull-Ups. You will be able to join that. All you have to do is comment below in the comment section, no weight machines, with your IG handle. So go ahead and post that below. Make sure, if the video is helpful, let me know. Comment in the comment section below with any feedback you have, and don't forget to like this video. If it was helpful at all, like the video. The community is growing, and we want to keep bringing real, transparent, scientific, and helpful information to the industry. So that's what I'm here to do. Health is wealth. Remember, it's just a warm-up. It's always a warm-up, even when you feel like you can't go anymore. Thanks for watching. I will see y'all in the next video.